Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 2021 kickoff for Table Talks. Hey, hey, hey. And my name is Martina Young, and I have with me here my beautiful sisters, April Starks. I was waiting for a whoop whoop. And, thank you. And our fabulous sister, Bernice Michelle. We are so glad to be here to kick off this 2021 year. I keep on to say 2020, but we are now into 2021, and this is our first table talk for the year. And we're glad that you popped in at the table. Look, have a seat, take a drink, sip some tea.
Some tea. I got my tea.
I got my water. No. So pull on up to the table. Today, we are talking about being solutions. You are the solution. And we all know, unless you're somewhere living in a cave under a rock, that there's just been all types of things going on for the past year. And not just the past year, generally in life, there's always going to be different things that we are confronting and dealing with. But in every situation, we have to ask ourselves, y'all know I'm all into math, what side of the equal sign are you going to be on? When you think about math, first you have the problem, and then on the other side of the equal sign is the solution. And so it's easy to discuss the problems. It's easy to just focus on the problems. We know that they're there, but who are going to be the people that rise up and become a part of the solution? And so we're here talking about the other side of the equal sign. We're talking about the right side. If you think about it, it's on the right side of the equal sign, okay? But anyway, and there's a phrase that April says a lot, and she says, you are the solution, or be a part of the solution. So I'm going to start off by asking you, April, when you say that and when you talk about you are the solution, what do you mean by that?
That's great. And I really love your analogy about the equation. That's really good. Which side of that equal sign are you going to be on? I'm going to take that with me. But even during 2020, I think that kept resonating with me because sometimes you can get overwhelmed and bogged down with problems. It's a part of life. Problems, issues, tragedies, the list can go on. But for me to keep my mind sane, even throughout the year of 2020, I had to keep telling it was a declaration, honestly. Mm-hmm. You are a solution, that there's something in me that is here to help solve the problem, to help bring some extra digits to it to get to positive on that other side of the equal sign, that we don't want negative on the other side of the equal sign, but that there's something in me that can help bring the numbers up, that we don't go in, to the red or whatever, to, into negative. So I think for me, it was more of a declaration to keep telling myself that I knew somehow I was the solution, especially since I was here. There's a reason I was born to be here in 2020. That in 2021 at this point, there is a reason. So I'm even still telling myself that into this new year, that there's something in me. And there's something in you. And then that helps me look at other people too in a positive light, because with the various things that have taken place, it has actually caused us to make sure that we're keeping ourselves centered, to not just look at everybody shady, because so much has happened. It just messes up your trust factor. You looking like, I don't know. I mean, it's just being real. Some people don't want to be honest with their feelings. But I want to be honest, it just makes you look, side at people like, I don't know if I can trust you or whatever, what side you on or whatever it is. So I had to also tell myself that other person is a solution. It's something in that person that is a solution to whatever issue we're dealing with. So that's the declaration, and that's kind of where it comes from, to look inward, that I'm a solution, but then also to look at other people to say that they're a solution, and then not make yourself go into this shell.
Yeah.
Because stuff has been so hard. You just want to, I'm just done. You just want to go into a corner. It's like, I'm fine. Me, myself, and I.
Right.
But, to push yourself back out there, it makes you say, wait a minute, there are some answers to what's going on. There are some solutions to it. How can I dig a little deeper to gain those solutions, and then connect with other people to make the solutions even better? Because I can't be an Allen by myself. And that's, it's not really definitely what we were created to be, as Allens by ourselves. So pushing ourselves out there. And that's why I love table talks, because it makes us come sit at the table and talk about the hard things that we really, sometimes don't want to address, because hard conversations, you don't want to sit at the table and talk about them. So we're starting it out right now, 2021. Talk about it.
Girl, she done already came with it. I'm like, want to drop my cup, my pen, and everything else. That's so good. Vernice, what say ye?
I don't know what to add after that.
I know. Thank you, ma'am.
But what I can say is that, Martina, you said, what side of the equation do we want to be on? But when on the problem side of the equation, I choose to be on the positive.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? If you're doing addition, subtraction, if the positive number is greater than the negative number, then on the other side, positive is going to come out.
Yeah.
And so I choose to be a part of the positive that is in this world. And I remember being in high school, and we had a teacher, Miss Rademacher, and sometimes I would know the answer, but she would want us to break it all the way down, each step, and not miss. But there was a reason to that each step had a purpose.
Oh,
so, and so sometimes we'll have the solution and we want to go out there and implement it really fast, but there are some processes that we have to go through before we are able to present that answer. And so in the processes that is internal, that we have to take that into ourselves and say, okay, I am going to be a part of the solution. I'm going to be positive in this. And also I have to break it down. Sometimes some solutions are so grand that it has to be broken down. It has to be broken down. And I have to, how in the steps, you have to, and there is a solution, you have to divide before you multiply. There's a certain steps you have to do before you, get to the solution, I'm trying to say. And so for me, in the global things that are going on, I have to remove myself from what's going on in the grand picture, and then break it all the way down to be in the presence of my present situation, and how am I the solution to my present situation, and then that will help in the global. If we all take part and say, this is what I'm going to do in my realm of influence, connections, community, neighborhood, then that will be on the grander scale of things.
Really, it's like we all have a piece. We all have something, as we're speaking mathematically, we all have something that we can add to situations to make them better. Like we all have the ability to be an influencer of change. And it's like, really, God has given every person, everybody is connected in some way and has some ability to make change and influence. And one of the things is that you can spend so much time with the problem, like literally, that you become a part of the problem. And we really do have to be mindful that, because, let's just be honest, so much has happened in this last year that it could literally like cause, as you were talking about, April, about side-eyeing people, like literally it can cause you to become negative and bitter. And if we are not mindful of ourselves, if we don't guard our hearts, you know what I'm saying? Like you can find yourself actually you can find yourself adding to not the solutions, but bless you, adding to the problems because of what has come into your heart. And then all you pour out is more. And there's a difference in watching what we take in, and like sometimes people want to just ignore it and act like there isn't any problems. They want to act like there isn't any issues, but we're not talking about ignoring it. We're talking about participating in change. And so, like, at the table, just like when people have food, they break it down. You don't just unless you're hungry, that you don't eat the whole thing. You take it bite by bite and you break it down. So let's break it down. Like, what are ways, how can we be a part of the solution? Let's break it down. How do we do that? We like to break it down into small pieces.
Yes. I love when Bernice said that, because I actually was thinking yesterday driving, I was like, I probably can't, because a lot of times we say, let's go change the world. And that's really overwhelming when you think about a big scheme thing, and I know what we mean sometimes when we say that. But I want to start saying, look, let me just go change where I live.
Yeah.
The community I live in, because it could be so overwhelming. And you have to honestly kind of be like a camera, how the camera zooms in to get those close-up shots,
mm-hmm.
and then it zooms back out. So you don't want to be oblivious to what's going on in the world. So sometimes we got to zoom out so we can see the bigger picture. Don't be some of those people that do sit in Allen's or do sit just in their own circle and don't know what's going on in the world. Come on, you got to be alert. So have the ability, like a camera, you can zoom wide, see what's going on, but then take that information and not allow it to overwhelm you so much that you're not able to zoom back in and really handle what you can handle.
Yeah.
I honestly can't change the world. I can't do it. So why I stay up late and lose my rest and lose relationships, because now I'm PO'd at everybody. When I can zoom in to say, this is where I am, this is where I live, this is where I can control and handle what solution. So to your point, what can I do right here to make a difference?
Mm-hmm.
What solution is in me? And a lot of times, and I think we've discussed this before at the table, that what highlights for you, that's a good indicator of where you need to be. What highlights, and I'm gonna use me for example. So for me, I honestly have a passion and a burden for teenagers, and it won't come off of me. I've tried to like shake it off and just say, that's the part of my life is past. That season's past. I'm in the 40s now. But it won't go. It's still something in me that's like, these teenagers need the mentorship. They need certain guidance. So there's a solution in me. There's a reason why it's not going away. And that's a passion for me, because there's a solution in me to help that age group, to help the next generation. So I'm going to start there. And I'm going to start where I live. And I'm not going to say I'm going to change the whole world, all the teenagers in the world. Why not start and change the teenagers right here in my community, or help them or assist them, and let it snowball? So I think sometimes we think too grand, and then we miss the smaller things. I have a portrait on my wall. It says, big things sometimes have small beginnings. And I have it on my wall just to remind me. Let's sometimes bring it back down and start there and impact where we are and what is in our grasp to influence. And then let it, kind of grow from there, just like a seed, just like that math. equation. As we add and add and add and add to it, the equal sign then produces greater numbers. So just start where we are and recognizing that my passion is not someone else's passion. That's why I appreciate us as sisters. We have various things that we're passionate about. But guess what? When we come together, there are certain things that we equally are passionate about. And then we're able to sharpen each other and vibe off of each other. And the equation grows because Bernice's piece adds to my piece. My piece adds to Martina's piece. Martina's piece adds to mine. It just, it just makes it so much better. So if we could just do that, just zoom in. I think that's a good start. Where are you passionate about? There's no use of me if I have this burden for teens to then, I don't know, go say now, I just have this grand passion for, I'm probably gonna be silly here, but I just want to save all the cats. I got a passion for cats, in the society, or I'm gonna save all the cats and make sure. That's not a burden for me.
Right.
I'm not passionate about that. But somebody else, they love pets. Yeah. And they want to make sure that pets are nurtured and cared for in a proper manner, not with owners that are neglecting them and things. They honestly are passionate about that. Does that make me wrong because I'm not passionate about cats? Does that make the lady who's passionate about cats wrong? And I'm sitting there probably like, she don't care about the teens. She worried about them cats. She didn't worry about the teenagers. See, that's stuff we do too, the nitpick. Look, in your lane, get your solution that keeps bubbling up in you, that keeps drawing you and calling your name. It's calling your name. We avoid it a lot of times. We run from it. I don't want that. I want this. But it keeps calling your name. So maybe let's start there. What's calling your name? What is that thing that won't let you go? You're passionate about it. When everybody overlooks it, you see it. You're like, wait a minute, I see that. And everybody's going by. You're like, how they miss that? That is a starting point. That's a part of you being the solution.
That is so good, because when you said that about, as you all were talking about being your part, it makes you think about having a ripple effect. Mm-hmm. And what will happen is that one pebble or that one stone that you throw in, it ripples and has a greater effect. It may look like it's something small, but it's like a domino. You never know what you knocking down or you making that one change. Like, I look at it, as especially like within doing things with women's ministry, with doing things within the school system. I look at it as that person that I impact. You never know how God may use me or use you, or use what that one impact, how it's going to ripple over and spread into other areas. Sometimes we're going for the world, not recognizing that the way that God enables us to be world changers is by ripple effect. Like, do what you have, what God has placed in your heart to do right there, and watch it spill over, watch it domino, watch it ripple, so that's powerful.
Yeah.
The way Bernice's mouth is, she got something.
She's ready.
She got her lips in that purse, ready to get set mode. Go ahead.
Look, it's tasting real good. Give it to us.
You see it?
Well, all I was going to say is to, piggyback. I agree with everything that April said and what you said, Martina. But I would also like to add that, and to expound on what you all said, is that when we focus in on our world, we are a world changer, but it's my world that I'm changing. And so when I focus on my world that I'm changing, then if I learn to, what word do I want to master that, and to become efficient in that, then that might spread to the world by the ripple effect, and so and there are so many causes and so many things that we can take on, because there are so many challenges that sometimes, we'll, look and try to get off focus on what is our mission, because there are so many things to take on. And so we have to remain diligent and focused on what it is that is pulling me. I like April, you said teenagers. I have a passion for teens, but women are more of my focus. So I dabble with teens, but women are my focus. You understand? And so, I'm not neglecting the pool that I have to help teenagers, and I'm not neglecting the call that I have to help women heal, but I have to remain diligent and say, well, because I have a focus on teenagers, I'm just going to wipe out the women. They can handle themselves. I'm focusing in on teenagers right now, or what are cats. And so remaining true to what is calling me, I think that is something that we have to do, because we'll get off course and then we'll get overwhelmed because we are not operating in the calling that is on us. We are operating outside of where we are supposed to be. So that's what I would urge. If you have a calling of this is what I'm passionate. If you see something that is that's not right, that's unjust or whatever, focus in on that. Focus in on that. This is mine. And you might dabble a little bit in something else, but remember your focus, because it will always call you. You may try to, but it will always call you. And if you ignore it or don't give it the nourishment that it needs, then you will feel depleted. You will. That's just a fact.
No, that's good. I like that you said that. Like, even when you're not operating in it, what's calling you, you still feel depleted. So you might as well just go for it. Just go for it and dive in it, so that at least you can feel that level of gratitude or fulfillment, is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. And don't feel minimized. If you're, and I'm going to go back to cats. If cats is what you are, being called to help out, or whatever, be okay with that, because there is a need. Because you saw it. If it was brought to your attention, you saw the need, you fulfilled the need, but don't minimize it because it's not something that's on this grand scale of things.
It's not on CNN, so you think it's not important. It's not important because it's not on Fox News.
It's not important topic or whatever. Your place is just as important as the next person's place. So don't devalue what you have, the solution. Don't devalue your solution. If we're doing a math equation, if we do 3 points plus 7 and that equals 10, the 7's like, I wish I was a 3. And the 3's not, I wish I was a 7. The solution is 10. So the 7 has its part to play and the 3 has its part to play. But we're going to get to the solution of 10, So be okay with where you are.
Here, and listen, you all, in both of what you all were saying, it made me think about, it can be summed up in these 2 words, identity and identify. That as we learn our identity, and I know we always going back to that, but learning your identity, learning who God created you to be, not somebody else, because sometimes we get off course looking at other people and what they're doing and evaluating things based off of what they're doing, when you have to focus on, what did God create you to do? Like what does God want to do through you? And first of all, in the identity of knowing that you are a solution, that you are the answer to a problem. There are problems that exist, and you were created to be the answer to those. Yeah. All 3 of us are the answer to different problems. As we're talking about it mathematically, be the answer to the problem that you were created to be. So find your identity. And we did a table talks on that. Go back and look at it. But we did a 3-part session on identity. But literally, like, as we know and walk in our identity and knowing who we are, then that helps us to identify the things that we have been created to do. And you cannot look to, well, I want to be like that person. I want to do what they're doing. And sometimes, we evaluate things based off of what we see on the outside. But when you see that person, you don't know or what they've gone through to get there. And first of all, if you were not created to do it, you really are putting yourself in harm. And there's nothing wrong with, I have one of my sisters, she is a cat, and that's okay. That is her lane. And they talk about me because everybody else in the family is all about animals. And I'm like, give me a pet rock. But that is okay. Everybody has their part. So identify what passion did he put in you? And as you were saying, like, you will know one of the things, I started out educationally. I went to school for business administration, was working in that field. And when I began to ask God, I said, Lord, what did you create me to do? And I started thinking about the fact, I could see kids, they could be whatever country they were in. If something was happening to them, I literally would just start crying. And I was like, and I found that young kids in particular, they're young kids that I didn't even know would just come up and start talking to me. And God helped me to identify what a part of what he created me to do through that. And that's when I did the evaluation and end up leaving and jumping into the school system. And even that, it's like identifying how God wants you to do that. I know that God has, given me something he's put in me to work with kids, but that don't mean that every time there's any event with children that I'm doing it. He has created me to do it in the school system. That doesn't mean everywhere else. And there have been times where I would try to involve myself in everything related to it because I'm like, oh, but that's not. No, you have to identify how and in what lane he wants you to walk in. And you can't look at other people and say, well, I'm less than. It's still our mathematical terms. I'm less than because of that. No, you have to look and see how God created you to operate. Like, Bernice and I both do women's events, and there are times that we collaborate and we work together. But then there are some strengths that she has that I don't. And that's where God has placed us together, where we would be able to work with one another. You know what I'm saying? So like Bernice, she during the day, she can give you a sermon and inspiration. I can't do it, first of all, because I'm at school, but like literally that is her lane. And if I go trying to operate like her, I am going to be a what do you call that when it's a kickoff, knockoff? I'm going to be a knockoff version. Walking your identity and identify how God has created you to walk in it, and don't look. We can look to other people and learn. Like you know what I'm saying? We can look to other people and glean things from them, but that does not mean that one, you should consider yourself less than because you don't operate like them, and you should not try to mimic and do what they're doing. See, walk in the identity and identify the way that God created you, because in a part of you being the solution is you walking in the uniqueness of how he created you. Like, be you in the midst of that. And girl, once we hit identity and draw, I can just go on. Let me draw it in. Go on and jump out.
No,
that's good. Yeah. You're on it, because I was going to say, and also don't jump in, like, Martina, you had Sister to Sister going, and, ministry has been on me for a long time. But what if I had said, well, it's already sister to sister out there, women are being taken care of. I don't need to do this. There's already that out there. No, what is inside of you is needed.
Yes.
Bring your flavor.
Bring it
to the solution. Bring your flavor. There are thousands of women's ministry, thousands of teenagers, programs, but what we each individually bring to the table, table talks, we all we all have something unique to bring.
Yes.
And so don't diminish your value by not even showing up with your portion of the solution. Because remember, the 3 + 7, we would never get to the 10 if the 3 didn't show up.
If the 3 didn't show up.
So we have to solve for X. Solve for X. And you are a part of the X.
Yes. Come on. That's good.
Yeah.
I love that. We need it. We need each other. And that's what we're doing right now at the top of the year. We're pushing you. Everybody that's watching right now and will be watching, we are pushing you just as we push ourselves. We're not, sitting here telling you something that we're not doing. We're pushing each other. Go. You have to move, be all that you're supposed to be. Not holding each other, to this space, but that I like what you said, Ronnie. It's like we do individuals a disservice when we don't fully go ahead and do what we're supposed to do, because they really miss out. So if you would have said, well, I'm not going to do it because they're sisters. I'll just join sister and be a member. No, well, there's something unique about Women of Intent that needed to come forth that is unique. And things that are unique of sister, and there was to be a collaboration. There was to be a partnership, not for you to negate what was in you to then put it in with someone else. No, it was to start what you were destined to start and to have and partner, And I think when we start to see God, he's a master teacher. Listen. So we had to start off in math, just like in school. We had to start off with the plus and minuses, right? So we're talking about this equation. When we were in school, we started out doing the pluses. So we come home, we'd be with mama. 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4. So we getting excited, right? We're learning them. But guess what? When we matured and moved on to 5th and 6th grade, and they start introducing us to timetables. So it goes back to what Martina said earlier. When we start to really get this thing down, a ripple effects happens. Multiplication is no longer addition. It speeds up in its reproduction, because then it becomes multiplication in what we're doing. And right now, I think 2020 has shown us that we had to kind of reset, sit back, look, some undercover issues had to be uncovered, so that then the people who were sitting maybe a little in their quiet space or sitting in their comfort space would then get troubled, because the solution starts stirring up. That's why you've been mad. That's why you've been angry and frustrated and anxious, because the revelation of, or the revealing of the issues have stirred up the solution that's in you. And that's why you feel in the way that you feel. So what we need to do, God, look, we're going to baby steps. Let's just do the addition with each other, with this person. Let me first find out what that passion is, what that thing is. Am I 3? Do I need to be the 3 to come to the table? Or am I the 2 to come to the table? It don't matter. The 3 is not better than the 2. The 5 is not better than the 4. So whatever I am, I'm going to bring it to the table. So let's start there. We're going to do addition. And then when we start getting comfortable in our identity and identifying it, like Martina said, we're going to start going not to additions. Multiplication is going to break off. And the solutions that are needed to transform the world are going to take place from individuals getting into their pocket and their lanes and showing up to the table. Hence table talk. I love table talk. I love table talk. It's making us bring it on out and talk about it. Even when we don't want to, we bringing people to the table. We're going to talk about it all throughout this year. What are the solutions? So when we do that, multiplication is going to happen. So right now, we might be at the little baby stages right now. We're still healing from some things, and that's okay. But as we're healing, start identifying where you need to be. Now we're in a new year. What solutions are we bringing? So then we can partner with people and choose. I like what Bernice said earlier. I choose to be on the positive side.
Yeah.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's at this point right now, it's a situation. I was about to say it's a daily choice, but honestly, it's a situation.
Minute by minute.
It literally is. It literally is a situation choice. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we want to make sure that we're on the positive side and we make that choice. Every situation that we encounter, it's like, I have to like rethink this. Am I gonna, let this spiral into something negative? Or am I gonna be on the positive side?
Here.
So yeah.
Hello, Pastor Josh. We love you too. And when you think about it, when you said that, like this message popped out, like the problem is calling you. Literally, you like when there's a problem, the problem is calling you. The problem, and the reason that it irritates you so much, and the reason that it agitates you and upsets you, because that problem is calling you to be what you were created to be. When you think about it, like literally, and sometimes we'll just answer the call of the problem and jump in and be angry and upset about the problem. But really, the problem is calling you to be a solution. It's calling you to let you know that there's something in you that is going to aid in dealing with it. It's letting you know that there's something in you to help. It's something in you to alleviate. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yesterday, and sometimes I cut myself, and not like somebody cutting themselves like they have an issue, but I was trying to clip a nail in some kind of way. I don't know what I did, but it hurt my finger so much. And so I'm pouring peroxide on it. I'm putting Neosporin on it. But it wasn't until, now listen to what I'm saying, it wasn't until I put the Band-Aid on that it stopped throbbing. And so as I'm putting it on, I thought about how much that Band-Aid helped. Now, I'm not saying that we need to just put a Band-Aid on everything. But what came to me is that as I covered the wound, that it made place for healing. And it's like God has called us to be, when you think about it, when a person has a broken arm, a broken foot, they put a cast on it because that cast helps to aid in healing. And it's like, what ways would God desire to use us to aid in healing? What way would God desire to use us to aid in the wound being covered, in the wound being healed, in the wound being helped? Not to be, when it talks about us, we have a choice. We can either be the salt of the world or we can be salty. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are we going to do? How are we going to aid? How are we going to help? How are we going to make a difference? And, since we're talking about the table, when you think about it, when you are cooking something, it's not just that one spice that makes a difference. But when you add that pepper and you add that garlic powder and you add that, I'm running short because I don't cook a lot. When you add
some Lowry seasoning,
when you add that, I'm kidding, y'all. I do cook a little bit. But when you keep adding those various spices according to the dish that you're making, that's when it adds flavor. That's when that's when healing occurs. So it's like literally identify, God, how can I don't want to just add to the wound. I don't want to make a wounded place bigger. What can I do to bring about change? What can I do to administer help to it? And so, like literally, in so many ways, we can be the difference. And as we're walking in the solution that God created us to be, don't put down somebody else. Don't say that just because, one person might be a Band-Aid, the other person might be a cast. Don't minimalize what somebody else is doing just because they're not doing what you're doing. You walk in your lane and you allow them to walk in their lane. Because as you were talking about math, and you were talking about how we start off with addition, it makes me think about one of the things that at school, when I'm talking with kids, and even when I'm tutoring like older kids, even to college age, about math things, is like what I tell the smaller kids is that math builds on itself. You start out in kindergarten, you learn your numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. You count number by number. Towards the end of kindergarten, in first grade, you start skip counting. That's when you start 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and you work on skip counting through the years. Then about third grade is where you begin to look at how can I take that skip counting and build arrays. How do I draw a picture that says that if I have 4 lines with 2 on each, that it equals 8? And then that builds into multiplication. And now I'm seeing that when I drew that 4 line with 2 on it, 4 equals 8. And then that builds upon, those are the building blocks that if I remember them and if I have a great foundation with them, that's going to help me to be able to do division easily. And then that's going to help me when I begin to work in algebra. Like literally, last year I was tutoring my godson in college algebra. And the way that it helped him is I said, this goes all the way back to things that you learned in elementary and middle and high school. When you are breaking down that equation, think about when you're trying to break down that quadratic equation, that it literally is going back to the building blocks that you had all the way back. And I'm saying that is that you may be a building block. You may be a part of the solution that is coming. Whatever, every part of it is required. And when we look at that and when we grab hold of it, it literally helps us to build things that are going to be solutions that ripple and impact the whole world. But anyway, Lord Jesus, because you can just get all turned up. And it's the last thing I ain't gonna say that. I'm gonna try to make it the last thing that I say. But when you break it back down to the table, because we're talking about that for table talks, is that when you have trusted people that are coming to the table for a buffet, your family's coming together. I'm gonna bring the macaroni and cheese because that's the dish that I can really make. One of y'all gonna bring, Vernice is gonna bring the fried chicken. April, you're gonna bring the greens. Like literally, we all have something that we can bring to the table. And as we bring all of those things to the table, guess what? That's when everybody's gonna be fed. That's when everybody's gonna be nourished. That's when everybody's gonna be impacted. And they're at that table with us all bringing what we have. We're able to serve. But anyway, at the table.
Yeah, I just while you were talking, I wanted to just dropped into me about the person who hasn't experienced a lot, and they think that they don't have value to bring, to the solution. I was thinking about my granddaughters. One will be 2 next month, and the other one's 4, and I'm like, we're teaching them different things. They don't even know that one day they're going to reach to pre-calculus. Calculus. They don't even have any knowledge of number, of the value of numbers. And so that person, if you just show up and allow someone to pour into you, as I was teaching Nyla and Braylon, their numbers, and they don't know, and so someone has to teach them, and they have to be open to receive the education that is being poured into them. And so I was teaching Nyla, who's 4, and so then she took the pen from me and started teaching me. And so, I didn't get frustrated at her. I just allowed her to have that space. And then when she messed up, she came back to me and said, Mimi, I need help. And so it was like a give and take type thing. She thought that she knew it because she had, mastered that what we were learning. So then she wanted to teach me. But that was a good lesson because what she had took in and absorbed, she was already gotten a principle that once she learns something, then it goes back and she has to teach it. You understand? And so that was exciting to me as her grandmother. That she got that concept that when she learned something, that we are to go out and teach it. But she had to be open to receive the knowledge that I have and the wisdom that I have to give her. And so for that person who feels like you don't have anything, that, I just live this regular life, and, because there are people who, I was that person, that's how I know I was that person, and until I started getting into other spaces and being around other people, who taught me things. And once I learned it, I taught others what I learned. And so you have value. And what your value is it's enough. It is enough. You don't need more. You don't need less. What you have inside of you is enough to be a part of the solution. Believe me, I'm a witness. And so don't give up on yourself. Believe in yourself, believe in who God has created you to be, and show up for yourself and for others is what I just felt that, for someone who is watching this right now and who may watch it later, you are enough in what you have to, the little that you think it is, because you think that it's just a little amount, but it could be a grand something, just what someone else needed. So you have value is what I would like to say. And for whoever that's for you to know it, that you have value, you are enough for whatever the solution is that God has placed on your heart to resolve. Mm-hmm. You have it.
You have it. I second that. I'm a witness as well. So, out of the mouth of two or three, and I believe you have three witnesses here, of that statement. You are enough. What you have to offer is significant. Nothing added. Uniquely what you are and what you were born. When you were born, you have everything. I think for us, it's exploration throughout our lifetime to just really pull out that treasure that has already been in us. And we allow other people to assist us along the way. As Vernice said, we're open to let other people assist us. And I think what has happened sometimes along the way, when you bring your 3 to the equation, with someone else's 4 and then someone else's 3 to make the 10, a lot of times we get off focus with the solution was to get to 10. And I personally in my life have found that, when I maybe, let's just say, have brought my 3 and so have brought their 4, then they, try to make you feel like their 4 is greater than your 3, or because they were 4 and you were 3, they'll try to make you feel like they help make they help make the 10, better or whatever. Mm-hmm. But that's not the case. Like you stated, everybody has something. And so I would just like to echo that, kind of as we're wrapping up, is just, you do have something to bring to the table. Just find what that is, and that we don't allow ourselves to be overwhelmed to think we have to change everything. Just change something. Yeah. Just like your granddaughters, in that great innocence, sometimes we have to go back and reflect and just kind of get that innocence back, because life can take that away from you. That innocence and that zeal and that passion to just want to jump out there. And so sometimes we have to have those still moments to regroup. A lot of people right now in January are going through detoxes and cleanses in their food and their eating. We kind of talked about that before we came on the air here today, but I would like to submit that sometimes you have to just detox even, your mind and your past and your history. Detox. Go through a detox so you can get that innocence back and that fire and that spark. Dream again. Somebody took your dream. Some situation took your dream. Some tragedy and circumstance came to rob you of dreaming, but dream again. And then go out and get it. Go out and do it. You don't wish for it. That was my Wednesday quote. Don't wish for it, work for it. Go get it. Don't wait for someone to hand it to you. What is in you is enough. And there are people who are willing to assist and to jump on board with you, especially when you tap into where that place is. There's resources and other connectors who will unite with that. That is within you when you just let it come forth. So let 2021 be that year that we be thankful, number one, that we survived and made it through 2020. I'm trying not to get emotional, but
I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Really, being grateful that we're here. And if you're here, it means that there's still something for you to do. And we're not going to allow the people that unfortunately didn't make it to 2021 with us, that their labor be in vain, because they added something to the equation. Whether you know their name or not, they added something to the equation of this world. And so it's our job to not leave that treasure hid in us, but to allow it to come forth so that Nyla and Braylon, Bernice's granddaughters, so that my daughter, Ayana, and so on and so forth of this next generation reap the benefits of what is within us. We cannot sit dormant and leave it there and take it with us to the grave, because it's inevitable. All of us have to go sometime. And, I'm trying not to get emotional, but let's just be grateful that we're here in 2021 and allow yourself to be a solution, because we can keep going around the wheel of what the problems are, but find a problem and then begin to ask yourself how you can be a solution to that problem in your family, in your community, because it starts with family first. How I can be a solution in my family, how I can be a solution in my community, and then let it multiply and ripple, as we talked about, into the world. Let's do this. We got it within us. It's within us to make it happen. We got this. And Bernice knows what I mean when I say that. Just our word of encouragement for this year, even, from someone dear to us, and the fact that they didn't make it. But guess what? They sent a friendly reminder to let us know we got this.
Woo. And
No. Laugh. Yes. I was gonna go into the ugly cry. I'm sorry.
I'm trying. And with it, like literally, remembering that you literally.
Why didn't I bring tissue like y'all? I wasn't ready. I had to use my shirt.
that you add value, like really recognizing that wherever you are, the fact that God allowed you, that the fact that you are here, the fact that you're breathing, the fact that you have life, the fact that you exist, is that you have value, and there's something that you have within you that is going to make a difference. Don't disqualify yourself internally because you think that your position is not significant, but your position is purposeful. Whether right now your main role is being a daughter, a mother, a sister, a brother, a father, whether it is that you are a custodian, whether you are the president, whether you are a preacher, whether you're a pastor, whether you're a bus driver, whatever it may be, you have value. Make a difference right where you are. We want you to know, as we go in and walk through this 2021, that you are a part of the solution. That when you think about it, like literally, all it takes is the light that you have to bring light in the midst of darkness. And that's really what we have been created to do, is that we have been made to bring light into a dark world. And we know that right now that there's darkness all about, but you have light within you that is able to make a difference, that's able to illuminate. And I think it was you, Vernice, that posted one of my songs that I like to sing, This Light of Mine. And so I changed it. I would say, this big light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. God has placed a big light in you. Let it shine. And even to the point that you were talking about, April, it's like really, and when you stop and think about it, there's so many lights that have been added to our lives from the people that God has placed in our lives to be a light. And when our light shines, all the light that has been poured in us is illuminating brightly. So allow your light to shine and make a difference. Be the solution to the darkness by sharing light. And so as we prepare to close, and thank you all for joining us today, share, spread the word. We thank you for being here with us for this first Table Talks. And you'll see our email address on the screen if you want to contact us. So reach out if you have suggestions about things you would like to see us bring to the table. We would love to hear it.
Martina, we're looking for guests.
Yes.
To join us for 2021. Yes. So email us if you want to join us at the table. Yes. We have a discussion. This year, we're definitely going to be hitting on solutions probably all year. So email us if you want to join the discussion and join us on one of the lives to discuss a particular topic that's a passion for you. Bring your 3 to the equation.
Yes. Yes. Also, I wanted to say this, Table Talks, we are a part of the solution. And I just want to add to this, sometimes your plan does not always go. We didn't plan on crying and showing emotion, but it just happened, and no, don't apologize, because that is good for people to see, that people need to see the real. That's what be the real, and so in this process of planning for this episode, we didn't know that emotional part was going to pop up, and in your quest to be a part of the solutions, things will pop up, that will cause different emotions to rise up within you. Allow yourself to face it, feel it, and free it. So we just showed you an example of it. We faced it when it was come. I was trying to have that straight face, and then it just exploded. We faced it, we felt it, and then we freed it. And so we still are Table Talks, and we still are a part of the solution. It wasn't detrimental, or it didn't cause any disruption in our flow. You understand what I'm saying? And so as you move about being a part of the solution, don't allow things that come up to be a disruption in your flow. And so that's my leftover that I would like to leave with you all. So put in the microwave and warm up for later.
We always leave the show with leftovers. That's as I was trying to pull myself together.
I will help you out, sis.
And even that is a picture of it. I know it's about to close, but that even just is a picture of being the solution. I was trying to get to it, trying to pull myself together at the same time. And Bernice being in it together, she jumped right in and said it. So let us be helpers of one another. That's my leftovers. Be the help that is needed. And we will close out with April's leftover and closing comments until next time. Go ahead, April.
Yeah, just declare that over yourself whenever you feel that negative feeling or emotions come, because they will come. Just declare, I am a solution.
That's it. Well, we thank you all so much for joining us today, for coming and pulling up for a seat at the table as we pulled up had a drink, and had something to eat at the table. And we have shown today, like literally, that as we go forth in the solution, that we are stronger together. So remember that. And we thank you all for joining us and adding to even what we were presenting at the table today. Thank you for being a solution and joining in today's discussion. So we love you all. Be on the lookout for the next Table Talks. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel and hit subscribe. And also, if you have not yet liked the page, go ahead and do that and spread the words. We love you. And remember, there is a seat for you at the table. Bye-bye.